Ayaan. Welcome to our podcast, Career LinkPod.
Hi, Ayaan. Shubham, how are you doing? Doing well.
How are you doing?
All great, all good.
So, Ayaan, to the people who don't know you, you have been working in the personal branding space for a very long period of time. So, if that's okay with you, can you go ahead and share your journey with us and tell us more about what you do?
Yeah, well, I'm not particularly working in the personal branding space. Personal branding is something that is more of a necessity. Personal branding is something that is very important. And I work in marketing, so I work in branding, whether it's corporate, personal, or any kind of branding. And I've been working in the marketing industry for the past 5 years. I've been lucky and blessed to have worked with some amazing brands, which you may all know of. Yeah, I came to Canada in September 2023, and I'm the last sem of MBA program in UCW. And I have been lucky enough, I'm very lucky and blessed enough to have come across people who have helped me in this in this journey of the career progression when someone comes to Canada. And when I came to Canada, I was like looking for the best people to be around, because you're always the average of the 5 people you are around. So my aim as soon as I came to the country was like, now I'm in this university and I need to find my people, right? I need to find my community. So I came across this person called Sajid. He was the founder of UCW Networking Club, and I was like, okay, this person is doing something very cool. I should get in touch with him. I got in touch with him and I told him about my efforts, what I've been doing. And then I was like, I didn't have a job when I started in Canada. Like 6 months in, I didn't have a job. So when I came here and started with my journey, I was like, hey, I'll volunteer. I'll put in my expertise of marketing, of what I've learned, and I'll help your club grow. And when I entered the club, I started running a club proactively. We collaborated with SFU, we collaborated with couple of brands, and that really gave me a purpose to go and reach out to people. And when I looked around me, there were so many people who were like, what do I do? What is a coffee chat? What is a personal brand? And one thing I found out was a lot of international students in Canada, they do not have the right mindset to build a career that they want to build. And besides the mindset, they are not even aware of what it requires to build a career here in Canada or anywhere these days, because in the age of AI, the age of net layoffs that are going on, you have to stand out. You can't just apply for a job and expect someone to give you a job, because you may be amazing at what you do. You may be a top, you may be a 4 GPA, you may be best at what you do. You may have done 1,000 certificate programs, but if you're not really talking about yourself, if you're not putting yourself out there, you're just invisible. And if you are invisible, then you're not going to get a job. That's the harsh truth that we have to live by.
It's true. I also, because you said that point, like, the right mindset. So what do you mean by right mindset? Like, if you can just explain more about that, like, because I graduated in 2018 and it's been so long. So I really want to understand that part.
Well, by the right mindset, I mean consistency with your action, consistency with your motives. First is to have a clear vision or a goal of what you want to do. I speak to so many students, they go like, I want to do something in this particular field. I want to do something in marketing. I want to do something in finance. When you speak vaguely, then you don't know what that something is. That something can be being an intern, versus that something can be being a manager or having your own thing.
Right.
That is the mindset one should have before even coming to the country. One should know what they're going to do. 1 month in, before coming to Canada, I was already prepared. Everyone who comes from India or any third world country, in India, most of us are not working at a Tim's. We are not working at a McDonald's. We are not even like, that's a culture shock in some terms. But when you come to, you have to be prepared for it. So I was like preparing myself, but at the same time, I had this weird ego, or I don't know if I should call it ego, maybe that's not the right word, but I had this weird ick that I don't want to be mediocre. I don't want to work in a Tim's or McDonald's. I really want to put my skills out there because I really believed in myself. I had proven myself in my corporate job back in India as well. So I was like, okay, I need to stay ahead. There are so many people, some of my cousins who came to Canada before me who were working in McDonald's. But yeah, I was like very certain that I need to get a proper corporate white collar internship because that's where the career progression is. I won't get a career progression by working at McDonald's, although I may have to work in a McDonald's if situations arise.
Also, yeah, just for survival purposes. Yeah.
Exactly. You have to call them survival job.
Yeah.
Well, there's also one thing. I was having a word with Sajid, who is my senior at UCW, also founder of the networking club at UCW. The difference between him and other students was that a McDonald's job or a blue collar job is a survival job. I know for some people it may be triggering, but this is the reality. If you have to be someone, if you're doing an MBA, especially to all the business students or anyone who's doing HR programs related to HR, finance, marketing, if you are doing a program in that field and you're not setting up yourself to work in that field, then there's a problem. You can't call your job at Walmart a job. It's a survival job. Why you have to call it that way? Because it keeps you grounded. It keeps you aware that, hey, this is not the final part. And there's this very amazing story. I was listening to this stand-up comedian, Dave Chappelle, iterated that story, which was, there was a kid who said he wants to be a president of the United States, but then he got a job at Walmart. And he was like, I have to go to college, but before that I have to earn. And to earn, I will work at a Walmart. And he called that a job. When he started working at a Walmart, eventually, he was like, I will join college once I become a manager because I'll be earning more, I can afford the college loan. Something like that. Then he became a manager. And his aim of becoming the president of the United States slowly faded away. He was like, oh, I'll become a branch manager there at Walmart. Then I'll have 4 stores under me. Then he was like just satisfied with his level. It's great to be satisfied. But if you believe that you can have a bigger purpose or create more impact in any field, go for that. Always keep that. So that's what I mean by mindset. And I just want to talk a bit more about the mindset thing because a lot of international students in Canada, once they enter the country, they are in such fear. They're operating out of so much fear, like yoga, that won't happen, this won't work out. You have to leave the fear aside. You have to be a little bit delusional. You have to be a little bit crazy. All my friends, when I was applying for all these internships and I was not getting a job 6 months in, they were all employed at a Walmart or a Foot Locker or somewhere. And I was like, guys, I'm not getting a job. But they were like, Ayaan, you're not doing it right. And I was like, why? Why am I not getting a job? Yeah, I seriously got rejected from a McDonald's. Can you imagine? And I was like, how can McDonald's reject me? But again, even to get those part-time jobs, you have to have your connections, you have to have your reference, and you need to keep on working. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I'll share my story. I actually got fired from Tim Hortons because I was not making the coffee right. So it's okay. Thank you for sharing that, Ayaan. So why do you believe personal branding is so crucial in today's world?
Why is personal branding so crucial in today's world? Okay, so statistically, whenever there is a job on LinkedIn, and if there is an easy apply, that job fills up to 1,000 applicants or to 400 applicants in an hour. No matter how good you are, it's very hard to be recognized among those 1,000 or 400 people when you all look the same. So a personal branding is basically putting yourself out there, experimenting and optimizing your social profiles in such a way that people know what you're about. Every time, and personal branding is not just related to LinkedIn. Personal branding is related to how you speak, what you talk about on a day-to-day basis, what you post on your Instagram, what you post on your LinkedIn. It's all interlocked. One thing that I make sure I do with everyone I talk about, whether it's friends, it's a party, or it's colleagues, I always talk about what I am about. And everyone from the start knows that, oh, Ayaan is about marketing. So if there are some opportunities that are related to marketing, I'm the first thing on top of their head, and they tell me about it, and we have a discussion about it. And it's not just marketing. I think there's a misconception that only marketing people need to market themselves. Even if you're in finance, if you're in HR, you need to talk about it. It's very interesting to see people from finance, HR, and other fields, including tech, coming and talking about, being real nerds about, there's this thing going on in the field of human resources. You should check it out. And that's how you make very ambitious connections. That's how you make amazing friends that drive you and you drive them.
So it basically means like you have to put yourself out there. And to do that, even though you have certain kind of degrees and certain kind of experiences, but how you market yourself out there, that is what makes you very unique and distinguished with other 400 applicants.
Exactly. The job market is so bad at the moment that even people from Harvard are not able to find a job. How can someone from any second-tier college or third-tier college from Canada find a job in this market?
Right.
You're competing with mammoth in the industry. And you should always be on the offense. You should always be thinking in such a way that you're the hardest working person in the room. And it's not also about hard work. Hard work can also translate into studying a lot. I know so many students who study so hard, they study harder than me. And they're working at a restaurant, and that guy is great at finance. I would give him a job right now, but that guy has to talk about himself. He can get an opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Ayaan. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks. You mentioned that you have created a brand, right? We understand that people recognize when we say Ayaan. So what would be the 3 tips or maybe strategies which you had done during those initial basic times that helped you create these kind of impacts among the group you are in, or maybe even in LinkedIn?
Well, first I want to acknowledge something that you said. You spoke about events and travel, right? So before I come to the 3 tips, I want to talk about how can someone, behave at events or, act at events. Because one thing, when you're an international student and you're looking for a job, whether it's part-time or a full-time job, you're so deprived, you're so desperate to find something that you're everywhere. You're like every second person you meet, you go like, bro, can you get me a job? Bhai, job lagwa de. Like things like that, right? And the thing is, you have to keep your composure. Keeping your composure is most important. Whether you're talking to someone on LinkedIn, whether you're meeting someone at an event, you have to look like you're confident. Because the way you communicate in any job, whether it's a job at Tim Hortons, whether it's a job at PwC, whether it's a job at Deloitte, you have to be confident. So you like working on self is something that is peak. That would be one tip. Work on yourself. Read every day. Reading is something that is so underrated, especially in my generation. I'm a Gen Z, I know it. I'm trying myself to, be more consistent with reading. I read, gather knowledge. That is the most important thing, because when you gather knowledge, you have things to talk about. If I don't have any knowledge, I won't have anything to talk about. Second tip would be to work on optimizing your profile. Now, what you need to optimize your profile on LinkedIn in particular. My thing is, don't just optimize LinkedIn, optimize every social media platform. I majorly use Instagram and LinkedIn as my two social media platforms. What you need to do, your headline, your first thing is profile. Profile photo is one of the most important thing, and I'm speaking from experience because while we were doing events with some partners where we had to take students from our club to some other institution or to some other venue, we used to select them on the basis of their LinkedIn profile, because the LinkedIn profile communicates a lot. What I've noticed is most people either don't put up a good LinkedIn photo, or even if they put a LinkedIn photo in a suit and everything, they're wearing formal, they just have a very blank face. They just have a face which is like sad, depressed. It's like a Aadhaar card photo. Like people do it. It's like a government ID photo.
It's like me.
Yeah, change it. If you don't have a smile in your photo, change it, because whenever we are analyzing LinkedIn profiles to select people for any event, it was always about the vibes. At the end of the day, everything is about the vibes to some extent. So have a good LinkedIn profile, have a welcoming, warm LinkedIn profile, and a welcoming, warm LinkedIn profile. All it requires is a smile. Just smile. People need to smile, even if they're not at their well. So that second would be your headline. Your headline is the most important thing on LinkedIn after your profile, because it shows up everywhere. Most people put their headline as enthusiastic MBA student. I'm just telling you about the worst example that I've seen. MBA aspirant seeking jobs in marketing. That's the headline. No, that is so wrong. It is okay to put if you don't want to be creative, if you don't want to stand out, just put whatever occupation you have, or put like marketing. Put like a marketing analyst, marketing specialist. Just leave it there. Don't make a request in the headline. Don't put an enthusiastic MBA, because now the thing is, we have the era of buttering things or creaming your communication is gone. If you're saying you're an enthusiastic MBA student, or an aspiring MBA student, or an aspiring accounting student, or someone who is looking for accounting opportunities, people are going to go like, oh, this guy probably does not know what he's doing. Yeah, they won't really connect with you. I don't connect with people who have bad LinkedIn profile, because I don't see value in connecting with them.
Yeah.
What one can do is, there's a formula. The formula is, you do three things. Your headline has to communicate your value. It has to communicate your current accomplishment and your previous accomplishment. So my headline is basically helping brands level up. It tells people what I'm about. It's a cool way to put it. It's a cool way to put marketing there. And then I have my current occupation, like say I'm a marketing freelancer, consultant, whatever. Then I'm an MBA student, and my companies that I've worked with, the ones that I think are like sort of accolades. So for a finance student, it can look like I make sense of random numbers. MBA student or a CPA student, and then whatever companies they've worked with, or if they've not worked with any company, just leave it there. Keep it simple, keep it basic, because whenever I type in the name Ayushi or anything, the headline comes up. So that is very important. The third thing can be you can post about things. I have a friend, a very close friend of mine, Shika. So her and I started our careers together. She's from Gargi, I was from Amity, right? And now we both keep posting on LinkedIn. Sometimes she posts random memes about agency life and everything. That's her personal brand. My personal brand is, sometimes I post my accomplishments, sometimes I post the lessons that I've learned. And posting is also very important. But while posting, what one needs to keep in mind is, don't post what everyone is posting about. Or even if you're doing that, do it in a different way. And don't use ChatGPT while writing your LinkedIn post. Use it to proofread your post so that there are no grammatical errors. Or if there is any ChatGPT post, I can sense it from a mile away. It always has these two emojis before in the subject line, and then the post is starting with words that we don't use in a conversational language. Right? Always have a hook to your post. So for example, I wanted to talk about how I did a LinkedIn workshop in my university. And I could have just posted, hey, great pleasure, delighted to have presented a LinkedIn presentation, but I was like, no. I really wanted to talk about how I have improved with presentations. So that to a point where I'm giving workshops in my own university. There was a time where I was giving a presentation for a very big client, and one of my managers, he came in and he was like, hey, can you give this presentation for me? I was like, okay. I never made that presentation and I bombed at it. So first lesson is never do presentations that you have not made. Never take onus of that, because you may not know what's coming in the slide and you don't know any client expectations. Second is that whenever you're posting on LinkedIn, always have a hook. So my hook was, I suck at presentation. And then I gave 10 lessons of what I've learned in my 5 years of working in corporate to give an excellent presentation. So that is how I frame things, to make those things interesting. When I went to the Microsoft office first, I remember looking at the Microsoft office in downtown Vancouver, and I just go someday. I just say to those things, I look at some nice car or some nice watch. I do tell myself someday I will get it. And it happened. 6 months later, I was in the Microsoft office because of a networking event. It was not like Microsoft invited me or anything, right? Because of a networking event that was being held in the community hall. But I changed that post to 6 months ago, I dreamed of being inside that office now. And that also gathered a lot of views and a lot of comments and everything. So it's just about framing things right.
I think mostly nowadays LinkedIn also helps you to track that algorithm with go for one post, comment on others' profile and and all those things. So it helps us to be more on track. Then the algorithm starts to work and then we have more views on our posts and see more connections also coming up, if you want to add them into your connections or not.
One more tip for anyone who's starting out with LinkedIn, who has optimized the profile. Once you're done optimizing your profile, connect with people so much so that LinkedIn stops you from connecting to people. When I came to Canada, I used to send out so many connection requests in a week that LinkedIn used to restrict me at a point. So you can't send any more connection requests. Get to that point every week for 3 months. You will have at least 1,000 connections. You will have those connections that you can actively reach out. And then reaching out is the next step that needs to be talked about.
I think there is also one very important point you shared, Ayaan, that was people now don't need the needy ones. They need the one what you're bringing on table ones, right? For example, I'm looking for a job. So yes, everyone else is looking for a job, but what else are you bringing on table? And how your skills and you yourself can accustom to the role which they are hiring for. So these all things have now come into the market. I think that needy period has long gone, and I think this transition is very hard for other people to digest it. So I think that is where I really wanted to highlight that part of what you shared before. So yeah, and I also think when you shared about that part, about your key headlines, I've also seen so many of the requests when I get there's no profile picture and it only say MBA HR. So how would I know I'm in HR, but then as HR person also, how would I know if I should accept that LinkedIn request or not, right?
Yeah. Also, one more very important tip. Many people do that wrong, regardless of where they are from. Don't put open to work on your profile. Don't put it. Whether it's whether LinkedIn offers you that only HRs can see it, you can put a hidden open to work. Don't do that. Because when you're putting in open to work, I already know what you're coming to me for.
Yeah.
And when you're reaching out to someone, I reach out to people with hey, I loved your blog. Hey, I loved the thing you talked about. But if I have an open to work badge, then they already know I probably don't really care about that. So it's very important to look the part and not look desperate.
I see. Yeah.
Moreover, I think that the titles do play an important role, because in one of the sessions I was listening to a recruiter and he was telling that, so for example, if someone is an HR assistant and they might have a talent of maybe partnering with businesses, then they should project that in their headline, so that when a company or a hiring manager looks at their profile, they find, okay, this person is a business partner kind of person. So we can project that also through our title. And moreover, LinkedIn sends you those kind of jobs also when you are really looking for a job.
Yeah, and the best thing that one can do is volunteer. If you're someone, this specifically for international students, maybe I don't know about other job seekers, but for students, any kind of student, domestic or international, volunteer. Because when you volunteer, you get titles, you get to meet people, you have a sense of purpose. It makes you feel like you're doing something. It makes others go like, oh, he's not getting paid, but he's volunteering, working so hard. He must be on to something. So it's very important to volunteer as well. Yeah.
Just to understand, when you were into the creating a niche for yourself, you knew that you were wanting to become a marketing person and you want to brand, right? And people recognize that, okay, Ayaan is into marketing. For people or maybe the international students who are in a confusion state where they might have worked in some other field in back home and now they are here studying something else, right? You know the process. How would they identify their niche and what really they want to get into?
So in this case, there are two kinds of people. One are people who are in their bachelor's, who are like figuring their stuff out, because in bachelor's, I did my bachelor's in tourism administration from Amity University. My degree never really mattered in my career. It just made me, interested in marketing. But my typical job that you get from a tourism administration degree, I never did that. So the thing is, and even if it's someone in their master's program and they want to transition from marketing to finance, for both these kinds of people, the best thing that you can do is talk to people. You need to go and talk to people. So for example, if I want to become a product manager, that's my next step. If I want to become a consultant or a product manager, I will go on LinkedIn, type the place that I live in, the position that I want to be at, search the people. So for example, if I want to become a product manager, I will type product manager Vancouver on LinkedIn. I will get a list of people who are product managers in Vancouver. Then I will connect with them and I will ask them questions, because the thing is, I think what we believe is that somewhere there's this fear that people may not be kind to us. Let them say no. Let them not be kind to you. But you need to always have that mindset of being a delusional, a very enthusiastic, a charismatic person who will reach out to 100 people. Though LinkedIn, the average rate of people responding on LinkedIn is 10%. If you maybe lower than that, less than 5% you can take. You can message 100 people and only 5 will respond to you. So you have to get on it. Like, to the students who are watching this, stop using Instagram. LinkedIn is your best friend. So use LinkedIn. If you're a newcomer to Canada or any country, if you're looking for a job, please use LinkedIn like your Instagram. It helps a lot. Using LinkedIn, let me be clear about that. Using LinkedIn is not easy. Every day I see some friend getting promoted, or I see someone else getting promoted, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Am I not achieving something?
Yeah.
I literally call my friends up sometimes. Yeah, I feel like I'm failing in life, but that is also something that keeps me going. So yeah, use LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because what you mentioned, that search for people who are working in similar professions. So for example, if a person is into HR and they plan to get into HR, but they might have done accounting back home. So now to understand what all things are to be done actually in HR, rather than only the study material, they can connect with people on LinkedIn. Even if out of the 100 only 5 respond, it's good. At least 5 are responding and they could understand what all things they have to do as an HR if that will really align to their thought process, what they had thought, okay, I'll be doing this or that. I think that's a great point.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to just highlight this one more thing. I've seen many job search events. I have seen multiple LinkedIn workshops and everything, all those things. But one thing no one talks about it, how hard it is. It is very hard. It is absolutely soul crushing to reach out to people on LinkedIn to put yourself out there. But there's a way to deal with that as well. You need to make your personal life interesting enough that your professional life, it makes the stress of your professional life less if your personal life is interesting. So make sure you're doing all your hobbies, you're doing your gym, you're doing your activities, meet people, do what you want. But there has to be a balance, because if there's no balance, I remember a point where I was just applying for jobs, sitting in my room, almost at the verge of, like a depressed person. And my best friend calls me and she's like, you need to go out. And I was like, okay. Then I went on a stage and did some stand-up comedy that night. So yeah, like keep doing multiple things. You don't have to live in a bubble.
What to Anshi?
Yeah.
So, Ayaan, you mentioned about, social medias. What kind of, social media, what kind of platforms do you find most effective for personal branding? And when I'm talking about personal branding, I'm also talking about the space where, you can also go ahead and sponsorship programs and those kind of things. People do that, right? So sponsorship programs, as in like if you build your personal brand on that level, you get sponsors. You also get sponsors from like government, and then also from different companies, organization, even Microsoft, Accenture. These companies also give you scholarships and those kind of things. So like, what kind of social media platforms you should use to enhance yourself and enhance your brand?
The good thing is we're living in an era where vertical videos have taken over on all platforms. LinkedIn is promoting videos heavily. Like there are community events that are happening. LinkedIn community workshops are going on for these video content creators. I think Gary Vee said it. If you're not creating content, you're missing out on a lot of things. You can create a content on any platform. It can be Instagram, it can be LinkedIn, it can be TikTok. What you need to make sure is the content. If the content is valuable enough, you will get the sponsors, you will get the accolades, but your content needs to be on point. And you also need to figure out what's your niche. Because, for example, if I have to create content about marketing, yes, I can talk about 1,000 brands that are doing right. I can talk about case studies, but 1,000 people are doing that already. So I need to focus on something else. Then, like Ayushi, I can start a podcast where I talk about personal branding. And that's where I'm also in the process of starting my own podcast, where I am talking to people from different industries. And it's basically a template of a coffee chat on how a coffee chat is done. That is basically, a lot of people came up to me and they were like, oh, I don't know how to do coffee chat. So for that, I have started a podcast where I will reach out to anyone that they want me to reach out, or to some people in the particular field that they want me to reach out to. So I am doing that on the side. People need to find more creative ways to create their content and create an outreach for themselves. Any platform is good, to be honest, at this point. It's all about starting and having consistency with that.
When you mean by consistency, like 1 post a day or 2 posts a day, what do you think is the right amount of posting?
1 post a day is a good starting aim. To be honest, it's a very difficult starting aim. It's a good one, but it's a very difficult one. Start with 1 post a week. Or if someone is, there are so many people who are like, oh, I hate posting on social media. Then start with 1 post a month.
I hate it.
Yeah, then translate it to, or 1 post in 2 weeks. Pace it out, because you also need to find relevant content. Or what you'll be doing is, you'll be posting every day by asking ChatGPT, or what should I talk about? Don't do that. Talk about your real life experiences, because people really want to know. People are really curious about everyone's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why, we have so many famous reality shows because people.
Exactly. That's why we have that Kim Kardashian show. What was it? Big Boss. We have Big Brother. Yeah, all these things.
Yeah.
Love is Blind. All these new series are coming up. I don't even watch those. They're so cringe.
I don't even know about all that. I understand. That's why I think podcast is also in huge demand right now, because people come and they talk about themselves, and it's very realistic, and in the reality, like in the same time frame, you're able to hear the other people actual opinion and everything. So I think that is also because the podcast is also getting popular because of this curiosity.
Why podcast is getting famous is that earlier I heard this on another podcast. I watched this podcast called Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett, and I listen to this podcast everywhere, in the transit, in the gym, whenever I get a chance. It's like an audiobook for me at this point, because there's so much important information. And I think he was talking to someone about how Trump used podcasting as one of the major tools to win the election or to market himself. The thing is, people do not trust the traditional media anymore. I would not go and watch a video on what is marketing, but I would go and watch an expert in marketing and his podcast on marketing, because I want to go there and create my own opinion. And a podcast is a platform where you're having lengthy conversations, in-depth conversations, where you get a deeper understanding of what a particular topic is. So that's why podcasting really works.
Thank you, Ayaan, for sharing that. Also, when you were saying about the consistency with your content while still keeping an authentic and personal touch. So why, when it comes to ChatGPT, what happens when someone uses ChatGPT and then, copy and paste? Because I've seen so many LinkedIn posts, and it's a similar LinkedIn post. 5 different people have posted the same kind of but it's just like, numbers have changed. Like maybe number 1 information is different, and then number 10 information is different, and then if you see all those 5 people have similar kind of posts, so but still they get views, they still get likes. So why do you think you should not post from ChatGPT, even though you are getting likes, even though you are getting comments, even though there is a campaign working on for you?
So one thing is that you should, I'm not saying like don't use ChatGPT. Use ChatGPT, use all the AI tools, use it in a limit. Use it to
enhance it. Yeah.
Use it to enhance. It changes the words and enhance it. Use it to get a sense of what you want to talk about. So for example, if I'm writing a post about beer brand and how I love this particular bottle, I know my idea that, hey, I love this particular bottle because it highlights this factor, it has this cool tagline, it has a very cool logo. So I know what I want to talk about. Now, if I go to ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT to write a post about the bottle, how cool it is, the tagline, and I give ChatGPT the photo of the bottle as well, it will give me a great post. But if I start writing the post by myself, I will start with context. I will start with, hey, I was like with my friends going to buy some liquor, but then this bottle stood out. ChatGPT will start from something else. You don't even know what it's going to start with, because you can't really track how ChatGPT thinks. You can prompt ChatGPT to think that, but you need to prompt ChatGPT more. So either what you can do is you write a draft, give that to ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT to proofread it, tell ChatGPT to include certain words and exclude certain words that may be used for your hook. Don't solely rely on ChatGPT. Your reliance on ChatGPT for authentic posting should be around 30%, 45 max. Or else it's just not your thoughts, it's just not fun to read. And with the LinkedIn posts in particular, there's this thing. The first 3 lines of your LinkedIn post are only visible. If you have a paragraph which has 5 lines or 10 lines, only the first 3 lines are visible. So you have to make those first 3 lines as impactful as possible. Yeah. Then it turns into see more with the extra content. So that's something to keep in mind.
Thank you, Ayaan, for sharing that. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Ayaan. I think that's that's also realistic, because when you don't think, it would kill your imagination at the end, and then you don't have anything to talk
Exactly.
also to people when you are really meeting someone.
Yeah.
At least if you have a realistic
Yeah.
post which you have posted on LinkedIn, then when you meet someone in a professional
Yeah.
environment, you can talk to them. I posted something like this. This is my viewpoint.
Yeah.
Ayaan, in our conversation, you did mention that you have been through rejections and everything. How did you handle these kind of rejections, or maybe the negative criticisms, or maybe the feedbacks which you receive, and try to improve yourselves as a person and also in terms of branding?
Well, I think it's very hard to deal with rejection. Rejections are sometimes, terrible. I once went to RBC, I interviewed for this whole position, and it was through a referral, and I was like so positive that this will work out, this will happen, and I was already dreaming of those things that I wanted to buy and do things, right? But what happened was that I got rejected. It felt like hell. I was like very sad for like 2-3 weeks. I was like, just roaming around, because I was at the same time also applying for all these survival jobs. I don't consider RBC Bank as a job as a survival job, because it's in a corporate environment. It somewhere connects me to people or leads me to paths where I can, benefit from it. So the thing was that I got rejected from it, and I was speaking to my best friend regarding this. It was a very tough time, but then at the same time, I was doing things for myself as well. I was working out. I was listening to audiobooks. I was listening to my music. Sometimes I would go and hang out with friends, but I restricted myself a lot because, that was that. I'll tell you this very funny thing. I don't know why, but once I got my job where I was like, okay, I'm sort of satisfied with myself. I'm never satisfied. But once I got this internship that I'm currently doing, I rewarded myself with a watermelon. Because I was like, watermelons are so expensive in Canada. Once I get a decent job, I'll get myself a watermelon. So yeah, I mean, celebrate little bit.
Yeah.
So how I will say, like, basically when your mind turns negatively, you try to do positive things to overcome your negativity.
No, I drown in negativity for a while. Then I come up like everyone else. There's no hard and fast rule. You have to feel your feelings. If you don't feel your feelings, your feelings will project on others in very nasty ways.
Yeah.
Don't do that. It's better to be sad about it, cry about it. I have a very hard time crying. I have not cried in a very long time, but it's important to cry if anyone is listening. It's okay to be sad, 100%. Feel your sadness, own it up, talk to your friends about it. Most of us, what we don't do is, we are not telling our parents anything. My parents don't know anything. My parents don't know about my lost bike. My parents don't know about my rejections. My parents don't know about all the times I've cried, because I want to make sure that they feel okay back and because they're also going through so many emotions. Talk to your friends. Talk to your friends in India. Rely on them for a while. Ask them for advice. They will make you laugh and things get better. You connect people. And I think what happens, one thing that I also want to highlight is that in Canada, your friends are very important. In any new country, your friends are very important. If you're hanging out with a bunch of people who don't care about their careers, you're gonna be like that, because you'll 100% always be average of the 5 people around. So it's better to have no friends. It's better to have 1 or 2 people you meet in a month, rather than having lots of friends who are not passionate about their careers. Learn to spend time with yourself. That's what I would say. Very important lesson.
So finally, is there a piece of advice or a key takeaway which you would like to share with anyone listening as a final?
One final piece of advice would be, don't worry. Everything works out. Don't give up on yourself. Keep going. The thing is, you have to keep going. You can't stop, because inflation will catch you. This world is not really very friendly. If you don't have money, if you have money, you have everything. If you don't have money, you don't have the basic means, you don't have freedom. And when you're an international student, money means a lot. Even if it's like $100, $200, it can make or break your day. But do your survival job, but keep applying, keep learning, keep talking to people, keep networking, and reach out,
And keep doing personal branding.
Yeah.
keep doing things.
Yeah, I think it was a great conversation because we rarely talk about personal branding, though we always talk about marketing and we never try to relate it to any of the professions, whether it's HR, finance, or anything. And in this era where AI is taking place and a lot of people are applying for jobs, I think standing out is one of the key ingredients, and that only happens if you try to be out there making people realize, okay, there's a person named X in this platform available. Otherwise, you'll be also one of their followers and they would never recognize you. So I think whatever you mentioned, that go out, talk to people, find your niche and project what you can offer to them, build meaningful connections, go for networking events. If in case you are feeling rejected, take it in a good way, work on yourself and move out. Don't just depend on your survival jobs, but also parallelly try to attend these kind of events where you develop what you want to do in your life, in your career. I think those were the greatest points during these conversations, and I believe whoever listening will be really blessed to hear these points and recognize what really means to have meaningful connections in our job search. Once again, thank you, Ayaan. I know you have a busy schedule and you have provided this time for us. We really thank you, and hopefully whoever listened to you will be connecting with you and learning more from you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ayushi. Thank you so much, Subhan. You guys are doing a great job. This is amazing. I hope we are able to provide little links to the community.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ayaan.
Thank you, Ayushi. Thank you. Bye, guys. Take care.
Okay.